If you have nothing to hide, then you have nothing to fear. We've all heard this argument a million times when talking to people about the latest revelations of government snooping or the latest rollout of creepy Orwellian technology. The implication is that the only people who complain about having their privacy violated are criminals who deserve to have their privacy violated. It is a simple phrase, learned by rote, that is meant to bring the conversation to a close. We all know that this argument is fundamentally flawed, but sometimes it's difficult to argue the point with someone who insists that they are fine with seemingly any level of government intrusion in their personal lives. Recently, Dan Dix of pressfortruth.ca demonstrated in a simple, fun way the limits of people's willingness to abide by the maxim that they have nothing to fear because they have nothing to hide.
Why don't you just start us off, tell us your name.
Gary Burnell and my wife Krellin.
My name's Ron, and I'm from Florida.
Where are you from?
Seattle, Washington.
I'm from Florida.
Australia, New South Wales, Australia.
What's your Facebook password?
I'm not going to give you my Facebook password.
What's your bank account number?
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, see.
What did you search last night on Google?
I don't like this interview.
So why are people, sometimes the very same people who argue that they have nothing to hide, reluctant to give away all of their personal information to a random person on the street? Obviously, because they do not know that person or his intentions. He could be a criminal attempting to steal the information so he can access their bank account or steal their identity. Even if he wasn't a criminal, who's to say where the information would end up, and whether it may eventually end up in the hands of some nefarious criminal? For some reason, people believe that allowing the government to spy on all of their electronic communications is somehow different. These aren't random criminals on the street, after all, but government agencies. The information is not being accessed randomly. It is being used for official investigations into terrorism or wrongdoing. Our personal data, even our bank account numbers and personal histories, are surely safe with these government agencies and their trusted employees. But think for a moment about the recent NSA spying scandal and what it has taught us. As much as Edward Snowden's critics attempt to demonize him by pointing out that he's a high school dropout, an army quitter, a lowly security guard who somehow or other flubbed his way into a job where he gained access to this top-secret information, what these critics don't realize is that they are making the very point for why we should not be happy in trusting our most personal information to a bunch of faceless government agencies. Because the faceless government agencies aren't really faceless at all. They are populated by the very same types of potential criminals and no-goodniks that we would avoid sharing our personal information with on the street. Think about the extraordinary amount of data that someone like Snowden, a lowly employee of a subcontractor of the NSA, can access about you personally at any time he desires. As he himself stated,
But I, sitting at my desk, certainly had the authorities to wiretap anyone, from you or your accountant to a federal judge to even the president if I had a personal email.
You have something to fear about giving up private data to faceless individuals precisely because you have no idea how these people are going to use that information or whether it will ever be misused. And when you realize that with the construction of the NSA's new 1.5 million square foot data center in Utah, the US government now has the ability to essentially store all of this data forever, you are entrusting your personal information not just to one potential criminal on the street, but to every single federal employee who ever has access to that data, all the subcontractors who similarly can access the data, and anyone else who might be able to gain access to that data illegally. The government is essentially creating a trough of information that would be almost literally invaluable to any potential criminal or group of criminals, and making every effort to ensure that that trough is never emptied. How can anyone possibly be okay with this? Think about this the next time someone tries to tell you they have nothing to hide. For more news and information, please follow the RSS feeds at corbettreport.com, subscribe to this YouTube channel, or follow us on Twitter @CorbettReport.